What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the Nerdy Narrative. My name is Leslie, and today we are going to do a textual examination of To Guard with Love by Roberta Bombonato. So if you're thinking to yourself, you know what, that author's name sounds familiar, it's because I recently reviewed another book by her called Blind Sympathy. Absolutely loved it. So I will put a card up above here to that review so you can go check that one out. So this book came out on Goodreads on March 2nd. And this author her words just resonate with my soul inside my heart. She is amazing. I love her. The paperbacks I don't believe she's got her paperbacks ready yet, but as soon as they're available, I'll let y'all know in a future video so you can snap one up. But I'm gonna put the cover on the screen for you so you can see it. And y'all, so I read this book in 2 sittings. It would have been one, but I was at the body shop getting my husband's something on his Jeep repaired for him. So right about the time I pulled it out, I read the dedication page in chapter 1. The Jeep was ready, and so I had to go. So as soon as I finished supper last night, I sat down and finished reading, and I read the entire rest of the book. I sat down after dinner and started reading this book, and I sat there for like 2.5 hours and finished it. It was amazing. It was that good. It was such a page turner. Miss Bombonato has an amazing ability to keep you engaged at all times. I don't know how to describe it. She doesn't have a whole lot of fluff that just takes up pages. So for instance, Terry Brooks. You see this book? It's like 500 pages long. My experience with reading his books, he could have made a much better story with half the pages. That's what she does. So I read the dedication page and I instantly messaged her and was like, I already have tears forming. It is a picture of her and one of her pups, Kent. And so the book is dedicated to Kent. And I'm just going to read this to you. And I have it up on my computer because I have a digital copy. But this is what she wrote. You chose me. You have guarded me since you were a puppy. Your soul has enriched my life more than words could express. Even now, you keep me safe by waking me up when Daddy has his nightmares from war. No one has ever trained you to. You're special and I'm honored you chose me. Though the characters and places of this story are fictional, they are loosely inspired by true events. If you feel unsafe in your own home, get help. It's never too late. Okay, so that right there was written by someone who understands pups and the fact that dogs have unconditional love. Like that right there, it just makes me want to go pick up my pups and just hug them because those words just resonate with me. Like I all the time wonder, do Milo and Bandit know just how much I love them and appreciate everything they do for me? Because y'all, pups are just so special. If I don't feel good, they're going to lay beside me, and it's like they just want to love me better. If I don't feel good, I had a bad day, a stressful day at work, anything like that, all they want to do is love it better, and they know exactly what to do. So the main character of this story is Simone. The story begins where she goes to a breeder and buys a puppy. As you find out later, she is a big lover of Scrabble, and she decides to name him an anagram of her name. So his name is Enormous, which is Simone spelled backwards. I'm not sure if I'm pronouncing his name correctly. Y'all know me and words. But this story is written from Enormous's point of view. And I've never read a book written from a dog's from a dog's perspective, but I feel like she gets it spot on. The way that she describes him and the way that he thinks and processes what he's seeing is exactly how I feel like my pups would do. Simone, extremely relatable. The first stop she made after getting Anomus was they went to the pet store and she bought him a new collar, a leash, the bed, the bowls, everything. And that is exactly what I did when Chris and I adopted Milo. Milo Milo and I, it was love at first sight. And literally the first thing I did, like when I adopted Milo, I went to meet him first to see, I've never had a dog before of my own. So I went to meet him first to see what we would think of each other. And he and I fell in love instantly. And so when I met him, there was no intention of keeping him at that point. But I was like, look, can I please go ahead and have this dog? And they were like, yes. So we went straight to PetSmart and loaded up. So instantly I have a connection with the character. And when I have a connection to the character, I am 100% invested. Of course, the story is also about a pup. Really reinforces the fact that I'm going to be ensnared into this story. This girl could have been me, except she's described as being short, kind of petite, and I am really tall. So something I've always said, a dog's gonna tell you if a person's good or bad. If my dogs don't like you, I ain't gonna like you either. They know what they're about. Without spoiling the story, it's about Simone and her boyfriend Joel. Joel is an actor, and he spends a lot of time away for work, and Simone stays at home. And she gets Anomus so she's not so lonely. Well, the first thing Anomus senses about her is a sadness. And very quickly he learns that Joel beats Simone. Anomus is a puppy and realizes he's too small to protect her because he's just not big enough to protect her from Joel. So this pup decides to enlist in some help. A new neighbor moves in next door whose name is Gary, and Anomus has decided that he's going to play matchmaker and get Simone away from Joel. And the story is absolutely precious. And I just feel that it really embodies how pups feel about their humans. Anomus falls in love with Simone immediately, and I love that he calls her my Simone. And I love how it's described when she comes home, his reaction, and how he feels when she leaves. Like, you can tell this author is a longtime dog lover, because there's a scene where Anomus is trying to work out a plan. And the scene is described as he's laying there chewing on his tennis ball and he's ripping the fuzzies off the outside of the ball. And he was like, don't judge me, it helps me think. And it just made me laugh out loud because that's exactly what Bandit does. Like, he doesn't tear up the ball, he just rips the little green fuzzies off. And so now I'm just gonna sit here, like every time I see him doing that, I'm gonna be like, are you plotting on me? I love the way his personality is described. Like, he loves Simone unconditionally, but he hates her robe that she has. Like, to me, that just really fleshes out the story. Also, I'm gonna just let me just insert a little side note here. I believe this author must be a really amazing cook, because in her last book that I read, she was making demonic food sound really tasty. Hashtag llama lasagna. And this one, okay, she was describing, so Simone loves to cook. And there was a scene between her and Gary where she had made sandwiches, and he was complimenting her on, wow, these sandwiches taste amazing. Like, what am I tasting here that's different? And she's like, oh, I don't like just plain mayo. I add onion and garlic powder and a dash of black pepper. And I'm sitting here going, and that sounds really good. So I am totally gonna try that today, because I am totally gonna make a sandwich and I'm totally trying that. Y'all, doesn't that sound good? It is written from the perspective of a dog, but it's also typical dog. Like, He doesn't understand why Gary's attracted to Simone, but he won't smell her butt. I love that Enomus thinks Simone is the most beautiful when she's not got, when she has on no makeup, she just has her hair in a ponytail and she's in her comfortable clothing. I also love that the dynamic between Gary and Simone and Enomus says, you know, we're a good pack, because that's how dogs think. They're pack animals. And that's something all dog owners know, is dogs are pack animals. And so I really appreciate the heart and the research that went into it, because that really resonated with me and let me know, you know what? This isn't somebody who's just slapping words on paper. This is somebody who understands pups, and they are pack animals. Like my pack, Chris, my husband, is obviously the alpha, and then we have Milo, who's the oldest pup, and then we've got Bandit, and then there's me. So on the breakfast and the noon walks, it's just me, Milo, and Bandit. And the dynamic of our pack, when it's just the three of us, is Milo assumes the role of protector and defender. He always walks in front of me and Bandit, because Bandit is a little runt. He's tiny, and every time a dog comes at us, they immediately go for Bandit because he's seen as the weakest of the pack. So Milo, he always takes point. He is always the first one to go around a corner. He always walks 2 or 3 feet ahead of us. He's always watching our surroundings. If a stranger comes too close to me, Milo's going to light him up. Milo's going to bark and light him up and let him know, hey, you need to back off from my mom. I don't know you. And then the community I live in, we have a whole lot of irresponsible dog owners who do not abide by the law and put their pups on leashes. And you know, they all say the same thing when they come running at us. Oh, my dog won't hurt you. Okay, no, idiot. I'm not worried about your dog hurting mine. I'm worried about the fact that if your dog runs up barking aggressively at mine, Milo's going to neutralize the threat. And he has done it. Like, when I go walking by myself with just Milo and Bandit, I have no fear. Milo has proven himself time and time again. Every time we've been charged by a strange dog, Milo whoops that ass. He has taken out every single threat with extreme prejudice. I do not want other people's dogs harmed. I don't like it if he hurts another pup. But these people are willfully negligent by not putting a leash on their animal. And if you say anything to them, they just cop an attitude like, oh, what are you going to do? They just cop an attitude with you. But they don't understand that the leash law is there to protect their dog. Why is that so hard to understand? Because mine are on leashes. They are unfriendly toward other dogs, especially strange dogs they don't know that want to come up and charge at them aggressively and bark their heads off. Like I said, I don't want to see another animal hurt, but Milo's going to do his job and I'm going to let him. So in closing, the story is about domestic violence and how one pup's mission is to get his human to safety. Domestic violence is not okay. No one who loves you would hit you. The author illustrated perfectly the difference between an abusive relationship and what a healthy, happy relationship should be. And she was spot on. Joel would hurt Simone and then he would immediately be sorry. And I legitimately felt like he was sorry. And that is, and a lot of domestic violence cases are people that have been in those situations. That's what they say about the other person. They were sorry and they really felt like they were. And I'm sure they are, but the behavior isn't going to stop. I mean, they're sorry, but then they continue the behavior, and that's not okay. The only thing you can do is get out of that situation. And so the author just did a phenomenal job of describing a healthy, happy relationship. And it really resonated with me because that is exactly what I have with my husband. So Enomus is trying to play matchmaker between the new neighbor Gary and Simone. And Gary is very appreciative of the things Simone does. He notices all the little things that she does for him. He helps her. He says thank you. And I'm so glad that he was written that way. You know, I've been with my husband Chris for 10 years, and every night when I cook supper, he thanks me for cooking supper. When he's come home from work and I've cleaned house, he notices. He notices what I cleaned, and he always thanks me for it. And I'm like, you don't have to thank me for it. I mean, that's kind of my job. That's what I'm supposed to do. And he's like, no, it isn't. He's like, it's both of our responsibility to take care of our home. And he's like, and he said, I'm grateful for what you do for us. So it does happen. I mean, guys like Gary do exist in real life, because that is exactly what Chris does for me. There is one scene, and I'm gonna try to get through this without crying, but there is a scene at the end that involves Simone and her deceased parents. And Simone has made some decisions in her life, and she's taken ownership, and she feels really good about it. And so the scene describes a light from above, and her parents are there with her, and they're telling her how proud they are of her and how much they love her. And she doesn't see them. She has no idea that they are there. Enomus, the pup, is the only one who sees them. So Enomus sees the spirits of her mother and father telling her these words of love and how proud they are. And he's thinking to himself, you know, he's like, I want to protect Simone forever. I want to protect my Simone forever. And now I know that even when I leave her in this body, my spirit will always walk with her. And that just really touched me, because, you know, Milo and Bandit are my first pups, and I love them more than anything. I love them more than most people. There's only a handful of people that I love as much as these dogs, and they have done so much for me. And I just, you know, look at them all the time, and I'm like, do you understand what you mean to me? And I just worry that they don't know how much I love them and how grateful I am for how they enriched my life. And I'm scared to death of the day of when I lose one of them, because Milo is going to be 10 this year and Bandit will be 9. I just think, you know, what is going to happen to me when I lose one of them? So when I read this scene, Simone's parents, and how Enomus took comfort in the fact that he would always be with her no matter what. So that scene gives me comfort, because I'm choosing to believe that when Bandit and Milo leave their physical bodies behind, their essence will still be with me. So if you are a dog lover, you will love this book, and it will tug at your heartstrings and make you cry, but it will also bring you comfort. There are so many times that I was cracking up laughing at Enomus. Enomus is hilarious. He is spunky. He is so full of life. It's wonderful. It's also a great story of breaking free from an abusive relationship. So I saw a meme the other day that if a book made you cry, it was a good book. If it made you cry more than once, it's a great book. So I'm still crying about this book. So that should tell you it's fantastic. Alright, I have to get off here. I've got to go cuddle with my pups and get some loving so I can stop crying over this book. As always, thank you so much for watching my video. If you enjoyed it, I would love if you would give it a thumbs up. And if you like the content you've seen on my channel and you haven't already, please click the subscribe button below. Have a fantastic rest of your day. I'll see you soon.